I'm a different kind of cop. We knock down the doors other cops don't want to. Taking fire from every scumbag in town. They didn't earn it. I don't feel bad about taking it.
All about bringing force down on the street. Why don't y'all take a look at what you got going on under your own roof?
I never put the money above us.
How long you think that's gonna last?
I don't want Vic in our lives anymore.
You're investigating me?
Vic Mackey beats suspects. He deals drugs. And that's just all in one day. I wonder what he's gonna do tomorrow. Everybody down!
Hey, my day's just getting started.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Chew the Fat, where we talk about a film or TV show in more than the usual level of detail. Always a show or movie that we really like, that we have high praise for, and that praise doesn't come any higher than for the television drama that started in, I think it was 2002 or 2003, The Shield. And we're on season 2, coming up to these are the penultimate last 2 episodes before the finale. So today we're doing episodes 11 and 12. We'll be doing episode 13 separately, the finale, along with a sort of more reflective look on the season, talking about our favorite characters and moments of the season overall. But without any further delay, let me bring in my usual guest panel of retrobates. First of all, from his training camp somewhere in Afghanistan, we have Lord of Toxicity.
Hello. I have not retrobated in days, so I don't like that. I don't like you said that, but that's fine. How are you?
Well, I'm good. Trump Daddy says I'll be signing an executive order for Vic Mackey and Lord of Toxicity to be pardoned immediately.
Yay! Yay!
So your retrobations have been pardoned. So you're all good.
Thank you, Mr. President.
We also have Mr. Variating Microphone in the house, Darth Plato. Yeah, now I can't hear you. What's going on with that? Your mic is your voice is tiny, like you're in a box. Probably should have checked. Nope, still not working.
Yeah. Moving on.
I don't know what's going on. Tox, can you hear him? I can't hear him.
I cannot hear anything, sir.
I think you've got a loose connection because I can only faintly hear you. In the meantime, let me bring in the rest of the panelists. We have the Inside Man, of course.
Good evening.
How are you?
Yeah, not bad. You are sounding a lot better. I've got to be honest with you, but we'll see how you. Oh, he does it right on cue.
Yeah. In all honesty, though, in the last 48 hours, I have been coughing a lot less, and that's probably because I danced for 8 hours yesterday. So, physical activity, I think, is actually really good for it. It's when I'm lying down and sleeping when it's causing me the problem. Talking of people that enjoy lying down and sleeping as much as possible, Northern English Bastard is here.
What? Oh, yeah. Hello, you beautiful bastards. Hey.
Sorry to wake you up. Great to have you on the stream. Our regular Proctophile is here. How's it going, guys? Pretty good. We're not up against the Super Bowl this week. So I'm hoping we'll get a few more people watching as time progresses. We're going to rip through this pretty quickly because I'm quite tired from a weekend of cutting shapes on the dance floor at the Camden Palace. But we will still do the show the justice it deserves. So we're going to do episodes 11 and 12 today, which is episode 11 is Inferno. Episode 12 is Breakpoint, very well titled. Darth has just gone off to sort his microphone out. But we're going to start with Inferno, which is directed by Brad Anderson. Very competent director with some considerable experience. Very pleased to report he is still around. He also directed The Machinist with Christian Bale, which is a very, that's an emotionally impactful film, to say the least. He's also directed episodes of Treadstone, 2 episodes of Devil in Ohio more recently, 3 episodes of Invasion. Not a show I was particularly fond of, I will admit, but I'm sure that was not down to him. And he also was the director in 2018 of The Negotiator, but that's not to be confused with the Samuel L. Jackson film, The Negotiator. This is that film is also more widely well known under the title Beirut. Yeah, I don't know, strange. Yeah, he's been around for quite a while. He's done Broadwalk Empire, episodes of Fringe. So a pretty competent director, but this is the only time that he directed The Shield. He just did the 1 episode. Which is interesting. He also did 2 episodes of The Big Rival. He did 2 episodes of The Wire. So I wonder if he's the only director who worked on both shows. But a man with a great career. So Brad has, the writers on this are Shawn Ryan, of course, Kim Clements, and she's credited in the credits as the main writer. But we also have contributions from James Manos Jr. under story by. So there you go. But Kim is the main writer. Darth has returned. How's that microphone?
I don't know. You tell me.
Ah, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, that's good. Yeah. So there's a couple of different storylines in Inferno that really get brought into focus. Northern, do you want to jump in and shed some light on which those are?
Yeah, so we've just
fallen asleep again.
The synopsis for this plot. So yeah, do you want me to go for it now?
Yeah, I'll bring up the stills.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, Ronnie is back, but Acevedo needs his results, leading to Vic making a deal to bag a wanted fugitive that could get them back on track. But could New Boy Tavern, Nosy Parker reporter Lady Kellis jeopardise their objective, and is Vic about to lose his family? Julian's past comes back to haunt him, and Dutch and Claudette have been tasked to investigate a rape case. But is the victim hiding something?
Dun, dun, dun.
Mate, you should do voiceovers for low budget trailers. So
was up for a job?
Yeah, well, I'll ask around. Inferno, good solid episode. Yeah, to elaborate a bit further, one of the main. I mean, this is a good. I know a lot of us. It's not our favorite character, but this is a good Michael Jace episode. It's a good Julian episode because he really does. He gets to act. He gets some good scenes, and of course, he's been repressing his homosexuality. He's got married. He now has a family. He's a stepfather. And of course, what happens, Thomas, his ex-gay lover, comes wandering back into his life and just causes... This guy is bad news all the time. I mean, I can't believe he gave him his credit card at one point. But yeah, he causes all kinds of chaos. And he tries to tempt Julian into his bed as well, but Julian refuses. Tayon, is it Trayon? The new guy on the strike team? Tavon. I get that. Tavon. I get that wrong every episode, man. Yeah, we get a lot more on him. He really gets to basically be part of the strike team. There's tension between him and Shane. You know, we can see Shane kind of resents him. Mackie likes him as a member of the strike team, not for anything else. It's obviously keeping him at arm's length where personal dodgy matters are concerned. But yeah, good episode. And we have the story with the grape storyline, as I'll call it, where the mother-daughter basically try and entrap and bribe somebody. I thought that was a pretty brave storyline to put in. When the daughter turns up in the police station, she just looks like, I mean, she's like jailbait. She's like this gorgeous looking young girl not dressed entirely appropriately. And it's quite disturbing, really, like, because you can see all the police officers looking at her like she's lunch. It's pretty terrible. And we have another narrative with the further disintegration of Mackie's marriage with his wife, Corinne, which is largely escalated rather unhelpfully by the private detective and the lawyer that he's using, so that they basically took him in completely the wrong direction just to get him to pay more money. Tony K is in the chat. Always a pleasure to have you here. Did I hear Broadwalk Empire mentioned? Let's have a review next, perhaps. Yeah, Broadwalk Empire is a show I would like to talk about. I'm a big fan of historical stuff. I'm a big fan of that era, the 1920s, the 1930s. Anything with a trilby hat and a Tommy gun in, I always want to watch it. That is a big.
Steve Buscemi. Anything with him is good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good actors in that. I love the guy who plays his brother. I forget the actor's name. That's where I discovered that actor in that show. He's a great actor.
Yeah, I've actually been meaning to watch that show as well.
Me too.
It's a big commitment. I think it's 4 or 5 seasons. I can't remember. I have seen it. I used to watch it with my ex-partner, and we both enjoyed it very much. I felt it ended a bit quick. It's not that it needed another season. It just felt a bit rushed at the end, and maybe there were reasons behind the scenes for that. Yeah, when he goes to Thomas's hotel room, it's all full of like electrical goods that he's bought on Julian's credit card that he's planning on selling on. It's just like, so he can basically rifle him for more money. Yeah, it's a good episode. That's another guest actor that I've seen in literally dozens of other things. He was in Alien Nation, playing one of the aliens.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
He was.
Sons of Anarchy as well. He's good. He's a really good actor.
Yeah, I think that actor is. I think it's Jeff Kober.
Yes.
We'll talk about the guest actors in just a second. But yeah, so that's enough giveaways on the storyline because we don't want to spoil it too much for people watching. And it has to be said that even though they're not the focus of the episode, Claudette and Dutch get some great scenes, get some great moments as well. I could watch those two guys. They could have a spin-off show. I could just watch that all day. So yeah, overall, won't give our ratings until the end, but overall, I thought it was a good, solid episode. Great continuation of the characters and storylines, and I thought Michael Jace was good in this episode. Who usually, maybe is one of the not the weaker actors, but I think his narrative is fairly predictable, whereas everybody else's, I think, is keeps you guessing. I knew Thomas the first time I saw The Shield. I knew Thomas was going to come back at some point, and I knew he was going to cause problems and be a big dilemma for Julian. So none of that was a surprise. But the scenes are good with him. So yeah, overall, pretty happy with the episode. Thought it was solid stuff. Definitely wasn't bored at any point. Inside Man, your summary of episode 11.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was good. It was pretty competent. I must admit, I kind of quite enjoyed seeing a little bit more with Julian this episode. I think a lot of his stuff that has been given in previous episodes, particularly in season 1, I don't think really did him as an actor or his character justice. But at least he's got a little bit more going on now. Yeah, I thought he was very good. I guess I don't know. There was something about this episode that maybe just didn't jive with me that much. I can't put my finger on it. I just can't quite put my finger on it. But it didn't really grab me.
Okay, he says definitely not with the mouth stuffed full of sausage roll. That's not a euphemism. Sorry, I haven't eaten all day. Okay, all right. Tox.
Good episode. Yeah, good episode on the downward path towards season finale. I liked. They had a lot of different plot threads going on, but I don't think they mishandled them. I really like Tavon. I'm gonna more about that later, but God, I love his introduction into the strike team, and I think he brings something to it. And it's so funny because today I don't think I'd have the same opinion, but back then and overall, and Brian White's, he's just a great actor. I always thought he should have done more stuff, been more. He gives really leading man stuff, and I like how a lot of the stuff is wrapped up that needs to get wrapped up, and it kind of makes you. It does that clever trick of making you forget about the impending not train robbery. I'm sorry, money train. Yeah, money train robbery.
Money train.
Yeah, it kind of does that because that's a big thing heading, but again, just all the subplot stuff with Tavon, and then the inception of the jealousy of Shane. Just great episode, man. One of my favorites, really. And I even dig the side stuff with Dutch and the false essay complaint that's put in and stuff.
Is that what you call that? And is that the technical term, false essay complaint?
I'm just trying. Well, I don't know what all the rules are yet. It just, TikTok and social media just say you're not supposed to say the R word, so you just say essay or grape. Yeah. So I just say that. Just I don't know if that.
Oh, I see. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I thought it was some sort of police thing. No, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Northern.
Huh? Yeah, I really do like it. I like the fact that the chickens are almost coming to home to roost on Vic. We got Ronnie back as well, which was cool. Yeah, and Thomas, it does kind of bring more consequences to Jules' decisions in life, because he's kind of living a lie, and his lie is probably going to end up destroying this woman and their son. And Jules is kind of as making it worse, but I kind of get why he did give him the credit card. He did take pity on him. He did kind of put his trust in him, which is a foolish thing, but I don't know, someone says they don't have anywhere else to go, you're going to feel a bit sorry for him. That's the thing. But once again, I do agree with Tox on Tavon. I've got him in my notes. I really like how you almost think that he may be about to give the game away to Nosy Parker, Lois Lane, O'Neill, reporter woman, Lainey Kellis is the character's name.
That plot's played out really well, and I like the fact that you don't know where you stand with him, and he's quite clever with all of that.
And he's quite resourceful. He's quite he's very smart. He knows what he's very competent, and he is very charming. He could he convinces the landwoman to help them break into the place without going to extreme measures. He uses charm. I love that. And Kearney's really funny as well. He's such a fucking idiot. He's this big rapper now, but he's got all these lawsuits. He's nearly fucking bankrupt because it's probably because of his own doing as well. He seems like the type to get himself in that kind of shit. And once again, Claudette and Dutch, they're just great together. It's not the biggest, most high-stakes storyline, but it is still a very good, important storyline about, something that does happen. And Cobra really fucking sells it as this kind of scumbag who's also kind of innocent as well. It's and I do like the relationship between Claudette and Dutch. And it's a pretty decent episode. It's not the best episode, but it's a good character episode anyway. Good character-driven episode.
I think you could argue quite strongly that Dutch and Claudette, especially Claudette, are like the moral center of the show.
Yeah, and I do like the level that she has in the next episode, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah, I mean mainly Claudette, but Dutch wants to be the moral center of the show. Claudette is the moral center of the show. Yeah. That's the best way of putting it. Darth,
he is kind of more the moral center compared to Vic Mackey and the rest.
So I'm sorry, your time is now up. Your time is up, Northern. Darth, you'll go.
It's another episode of LA Weirdness, like in the previous episode with the Bugsborough guy and the Pet Cemetery guy, but except this time there's a couple of ladies, a mom and a daughter. The difference in this episode, though, is that they're incorporating it into the episode a bit more it's a bit more relevant to the narrative compared to these other things, which is more just in inserting weirdness. So it really does tap into the overall narrative of the episode, which I think is things aren't always what they seem. Don't overreact. Things may not be what they would seem they are, and don't burn your bridges. Don't act hastily. So in this episode, you see it particularly with three people. You see it with Vic, you see it with Julian, and you see it with the shop owner guy, the guy that he's been accused. And in the case of Julian, though, it's easy to see how it's justified, because at this point he's being harassed by Tomas, and he wants Tomas out of his life, and it's understand why he wants to make that break. Julian wants to make that break, but if you look at what he actually says to Tomas, he does it really abrasively, really abruptly, and it's not surprising that it kind of comes back and bites him in the ass. Unlike Vic, where this is between this episode, the next episode is really a showcase about how Vic is just self-destructive and he destroys everything around him. So I think it's an overall episode and how it sort of encapsulates all that, especially in this episode. As far as what's not quite right, Inside Man said there's something that's not quite right in this episode. I kind of got a sense of that too, but I think it had to do with the Aceveda Vic interaction with "let me help you get elected." And I'm not sure I quite buy that motivation. Instead, we got this weird story of the guy going to the hospital, which was interesting. It was a bit anticlimactic though, because I thought that there were going to be some showdown in the hospital. They're going to be running this guy down in the hospital. Instead, we got the ending that it did, and it's not bad. I just wasn't expecting that, and it may have been a bit anticlimactic. I guess it's a bit of opinion there. And Lanny, of course, is asinine as usual. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because I sort of me and Northern kind of missed that, which is the other main plot thread is they're trying to get a big win so that the strike team can stay in situ and not be disbanded, which is
right.
Pressure.
But I didn't quite like how the writers sold it to the audience.
Yeah, no, I got you. Okay. Yeah, so there's our overall thoughts on this episode. As Toxic pointed out, this is the last episode for Lucinda Jenny, who kind of gets roasted. We've got Mark Rolston in there again, Drake from Aliens. Yeah, so let's get into the other topics. We're going to talk about the supporting cast. A lot of guest actors on this episode, many of whom have been in the show before, many of whom are first rate. So I'm going to talk about the penis flytrap first. Ashley Bashum, although she's had a relatively contained career, she has done no less than 334 episodes of The Young and the Restless, a show that I don't personally watch, but I'm sure that nicely paid for her house. Hopefully not in the area that got burnt down. But I thought she was really good, very convincing. The kind of deadly girl that you don't want to get involved with under any circumstances. She was really good. I've mentioned Monet Michelle before as Vanessa. Rate her as an actress. Think she's great. She's still working today. And then we have Thomas back again. Brent Rome, who plays Thomas. I think I said this before. He's now a priest, guys, by the way.
I don't think you did say that. That's the first I've heard of that.
Preach, yeah. Well, I certainly looked up what he was doing now, because I was trying to get him on for an interview, and I'm sure he's the person because his last acting credit is 2004, and he played Jesus, and that may well have led to him becoming a priest. It would certainly make sense. So his last role was as Jesus, and he's now a priest. So he's got his own church. He has a congregation, got his own church. Julian's not allowed. Yeah.
Wow, what a talk about a split in their life. This guy becomes a priest and Julian's the one that goes to prison. Wow.
I know, that's kind of mad, isn't it? And I wonder if, as a priest and somebody who was probably his friend, I wonder if, as a priest, he's gone in to see him. he's gone to visit him.
God, that would be a really good interview, wouldn't it?
You would. That'd be great. That'd be a great two-handed play, actually. We've also got, of course, we've got Lucinda Jenny. We mentioned Mark Rolston is back. He's only got a little scene. Kern Little is played by Sticky Fingers, who is actually a rapper, but he's mostly an actor now. Started off as a sort of rapper, etc. But I think he, if I remember rightly, I think he went on to do one of the Law and Order franchises, or something like that. I think he had a big role in something like that. I might be wrong, but
no, I don't know about that, but he definitely was in Spike TV's Blade, the TV series, and he was in a great FX series shortly after this premiere called Over There, about soldiers in Iraq.
Oh yeah, no, I've got the box set of that, and it's very good.
Yeah, it is good.
There you go. He was a detective in Law and Order Criminal Intent, but it was just for one episode.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's also does the voice in the video game. I didn't know there was a video game of Law and Order Criminal Intent. Yeah, pretty significant career though, and I think he's mainly acting now. Just done a TV series called Reverso is his last credit. I like him. I think he's a really charismatic guy on screen, solid actor, great presence, good charisma. I'm sure that all comes from rapping, his background in rapping. Who else we got? We got Reggie Curley played Frogger, the guy that they're hunting down. I've seen him in a few other things. I thought the scene he did, where he's got his kid, I thought that was because that's really his only scene. I thought that was a really touching scene. I thought it was good. Still acting as of 2023. So yeah. Is there anyone else who had more than one line supporting cast that I haven't mentioned? There's the mother, isn't there? The mother of
the mother,
the girl, Mrs. Montano. She was good. She struck me as a stage actress, actor and dancer. New York, East LA, and then New York in the 80s. So almost certainly got a bit of theatre background there. I thought she was very good. Liked her a lot. Still working as of 2024. So very much the jobbing actor. 43 credits on IMDb. So that's Diane Ayla Goldner. Goldner, you pronounce that? Yeah. Okay, I think that's probably everybody supporting cast wise. I know there's a couple of people with a line here and a line there, but I think that's. Oh, we didn't mention Jeff Kober. Jeff Kober, who plays the.
Jeff, yeah.
I love this actor. He's great. He's kind of, because he's got such a very particular look. He always gets cast as villains and psychopaths and hitmen and that kind of thing.
He was fluffy, and he didn't need makeup either.
No, I mean, what's good about him is he never overacts. He lets his face do all the work, if you know what I mean.
Well, he's got a great voice
as well. He's got that voice as well. That really sticks with you.
So he did 18 episodes of Sons of Anarchy, which is another fantastic show. He's also been a regular on General Hospital for the last 5 years. So Inside Man will be watching all 243 episodes of that.
Yes, can't wait.
Wasn't this guy
General Hospital binge for the Inside Man? No, he's a great actor. I've seen him in so many things. I really rate him, and it's almost it's not a big role, but he's very memorable in the episode. But my pick, and I'm sure it'll be several other people's today. I've got to give this episode to Brian White. Little unfair on some of the other guest actors because he's now coming in as almost one of the lead cast. So he's getting the same amount of screen time to make his storyline felt, his presence felt in the story as some of the other leading actors. So if anybody's going to pick him, as he's kind of crossing the bridge in terms of supporting to lead cast, I will also let you pick a backup supporting cast actor as well for your second choice, which means I've now got to pick one. I've just come up with that remarkable idea. It's a toss-up between Ashley and Jeff Kober for me. Sticky Fingers good, but I think I gave him this in another episode. So I'm going to pick Jeff Kober because I really like him as an actor. So he's my second pick and kind of technically the supporting cast of this one. Inside Man, who would you pick?
I would say my favourite supporting character really was Thomas. I mean, he was so loathsome. Such an incredibly loathsome, awful human being. But he played the part really well.
He's a great actor.
I'm sure he's in real life he's a very, very nice man. But
does a good sermon.
Yeah,
great wedding speeches and so forth.
Yeah.
I'm sure he does because he's got the acting experience. So I'm sure he can hold a room.
But
really well.
I thought he was really good. I thought he was that little weasel who just keeps picking at that scab. You really feel like he needs to be swatted away. He really needs to be brushed aside. He's a parasite. He's a leech.
Good choice.
And he plays it incredibly well, I thought.
Excellent. Mr. Tox, who would you pick for your best supporting cast member? Is it the lady on screen now?
It is. Yeah.
How did I know? That was a good guess.
Notes, Toxic. Jesus.
What's wrong?
You reading my notes? 'Cause I've got some of the same things here. I've got the same.
No, because
that's all right. You'll have your say. No interrupting. Right. So Tox, get into it.
No, she's just. She's another. I thought besides Brian White that I thought would do. I mean, and listen, there's nothing wrong with God bless him. Go to TV soaps. I grew up watching TV soaps when I was being babysat, so I've no issue with it. I think a lot of those people are really, really good actors. And I think it's interesting that the Shield pulls in. Remember, we had the other young girl from General Hospitals in season 1, and I wish she'd have come back. I like this little thing where they have recurring all these badass cops or super smart cops like Dutch, and they all kind of fall victim to these little doe-eyed hot pieces of ass that come on into the, you see there's like a recurring theme. It's the serial killer that tricked Dutch, and then the hot one that tricked Shane, and then it's just like a recurring theme with like the one that like got Aceveda wrapped around her finger, the other one from General Hospital. They come in and they just kind of they run the gamut on these guys, which just goes to show you the right motivation. And that scene where she's just kind of like, oh, I'm bruised up on my thigh, and I was like, man, I think I remember watching this with the wife and being like, listen, whatever else happens, kids got to go to bed because we're going upstairs after this episode. Because she really she did something. She did something to me. I was so shocked because I looked up her CV and I didn't see anything else. But obviously you said we could do first and second, and so I mean it definitely goes to Brian because he's so phenomenal. And he's so electric in this episode. I mean, he just really hits the ground running. And
well, I mean, you can pick a second if you pick Brian as your primary choice, because I feel
that's my primary choice. Well, she's
cool.
my second. She didn't get enough screen time, obviously, and it's it's one of those one-off little thingies that they do to kind of have the B story kind of. So I mean, obviously, and that's fine. But I wouldn't mind seeing it come back, and then she tried to do this again later on down the road instead of to a simp store owner and do it to like a gangster or something, and they have to kind of extricate her from the situation. But they never followed up or never did whatever. But it's a recurring thing. Yeah, as we get farther along in this series, you guys are going to notice that this happens at least a couple times each season where they get some hot little chick wrapping somebody around their finger and running a game on them. But it's Brian first, her close second, but I just thought it bared mentioning.
Well, Ashley Bashum, if you ever watch this, know that you contributed to the pleasures of Lord Toxic's marriage in the past.
Possibly one of my children too. Yeah, you may have. It may have been that night that one of my kids was produced.
Okay, let's not go into more details. Northern English Bastard. Who's your first pick for supporting?
And I was almost going to pick Jeff Cora because he's always one of those actors who just makes a great impression whenever he is. And but I will have to go with Ashley Bashum because, come on, she just plays it so well, just playing the innocence off so well. But then you realise straight away she's not that innocent. You know she's hiding something, and she's willing to still be that victim, no matter how much she gets called out for it. She's desperately trying to hold on to that image, and even to a point where she's willing to ruin a person who contradicts her.
No.
And it kind of does help Dutch evolve as well. He's been manipulated before, and he's not fucking taking that shit anymore from any fucking doe-eyed girl who plays the innocent with him, and she does it really well.
Yeah, she still manages to rattle him, even though he doesn't, completely fall for her.
Certainly
charm.
rattled me.
Well, indeed. Let's not go there.
I was almost worried for Dutch there when she said, "I'll tell him you touched me," and Dutch just shows her the camera and says, "Now the whole world knows you're a liar."
Yeah, that's
So
good.
badass.
Funnily enough, that's my line pick for this episode. But
I've got another. That was my line pick originally, but I think I'll choose another, which just because it was funny.
Well, we'll come back to that when we on the relevant section. Did her appearance in the show lead to additional conjugal relations for you and your partner, or did it not have the same effect as on?
I don't know, because she looks so young here, and I don't know. Jailbait doesn't dull me.
Yeah, that's the point. You've got to be the wrong side of toxic's area. So
if I saw us 20 years ago, yeah, because I was a teenager then, so it would have been all right.
Darth, who's your pick for supporting character in this episode?
Well, first of all, let me say that I love this entire discussion very much. I hope we have it every week. Let me say,
I think we should try and avoid it.
As far I like Jason White, I do. I like it a lot, but he's actually not my top pick. My top pick is going to be Kern. If you look at the two scenes, scenes with Kern, the first scene, he's confident, very smooth, very charismatic, and then in the second scene, you have this not this outrage like he's being double crossed, which he is, but there's also this realization that what's the old saying? There's no honor among thieves. He realizes that Vic isn't just a dirty cop. He's something beyond that. He's someone that can't be trusted at all. You can't do business with this guy. You can do business. You could do business with other criminals more than you can do with Vic. And I think that was sort of this realization for him. And I thought he depicted it very well. That's why he's my choice. If I'm going to still get the second choice.
No, you only get the second choice if you pick Trayvon.
That's
I made the rules to that very clear.
Okay.
At the beginning, so you don't get a second choice.
Okay.
All right. Very good. Right. Well, we'll move on to lead cast for this episode. Whose episode of the lead cast is this? Well, I'm gonna pick Michael Chiklis on this one this week. I think Darth just sort of amplified what I'm about to say, which I just love the duplicity of the man, and that really, I mean, that's part of his whole character, and that really comes to the fore in this episode. Great in those two scenes with Kern Little, aka Sticky Fingers. I liked all of Chiklis's scenes in this episode. I mean, runner up Michael Jace. I think Michael Jace earned his spurs in this episode, but still not. He's not at the Chiklis level. But a good performance from him. And I mean, I can't give it to Carnes or CCH Pounder because they're just not in it enough. But yeah, great performance from Chiklis. Some great scenes. So he's my lead cast of the week. Inside Man.
Yeah, I got to agree. Chiklis was, as always, outstanding in every episode, but he was definitely the best thing in this one. I thought what was quite interesting was, how you kind of see, the way he's starting to drop his old ways to a degree. You know, he's starting to drop these little things, you know, and he can't enter into any more deals with any more pushers
Yeah.
or anybody in the neighborhood. I like that. You know, so we're seeing a slightly, it feels like a slightly more moral version of Vic, but of course we know better. You know, we know something different. On the face of it, it looks like he's kind of seen the error of his ways, but I do like that a lot. And but yeah, he's very good. He's just, but which episode is there that Chickless isn't any good in?
I think his Vic's whole reasoning for we've got to be as straight as we can be on the surface, apart from the fact that they're under threat of being disbanded, is also because they're aiming to hit the money train soon. So they want to do everything they can to keep light off them, because if something does happen where they get caught and there's a full investigation, they could get exposed for the robbery as well. So I think he's kind of thinking ahead. Don't think it's really got anything to do with him morally
Nothing
wanting to go
nothing
straight.
to do with his morals.
So
Nothing
it's all part
whatsoever
of the
to do with his
greater
morals.
plan.
Yeah,
The greater plan.
It's
Because he
nothing.
figures once they got that money, he figures they can go straight, effectively.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with any kind of change of heart or any kind of any kind of moral alteration. But I do like that. I like that little sort of switch. But of course, it's because you know, Claudette has got a little bit closer to him than he wanted. And there's a lot of sniffing around going on around his past activities. So it's something that he, you know, obviously wants to, you know, brush to one side for the moment until the big score, obviously.
Yeah, and Daryl, good to see you in the chat, buddy. Always appreciate you coming in. And of course, Mr. President, don't forget Air Force One leaving in 55 minutes. Lord Toxic, who's your pick?
So am I right in understanding Brian can't be in the running yet because he's not quite a featured player? Is that right?
No, you would have to have picked him in the other category and then picked a second.
Yeah.
So
fair enough. I'll go
Not
with
yet.
I'm gonna go with Shane, strangely enough, in this one. And by the way, I agree with both of you about I think you're both right about Vic's reasoning for, you know, he knows he's got a big payday coming. Maybe it's a little easier to play a little closer to the rules, and because they know he's got the. So I think you're both right, by the way, on that. And yeah, he's great in this, but I'm giving it to Shane because this is where we start to see a lot of what Shane's up to this point. We've seen Shane as like a hothead and he makes bad decisions and he thinks, but now we see also he doesn't like for his area to be messed with. He's very
territorial.
Thank you. He's, you know, he doesn't like the dynamic between him and Vic, because I think he justifies a lot of the things that he does in the service of Vic and Vic's needs, and the fact that Vic trusts him overall. So this hotshot Tavon coming in really threatens him, and he doesn't like that. And you know, there's the underlying racism that's popped up and crept up a couple different times throughout the series, and especially in the earlier years with him. You know, he is from the South and all that, but at the same time, it's one of those things where I guess maybe knowing what I know for the entirety, it's interesting looking at it now, and I can see how, whether the writers told him to do this or maybe Walton Goggins came up with it on his own. You can subtly see the foreshadowing of some of the really poor decisions that are going to come later. The seeds of that are happening now, and I think it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, good. Okay, good pick. Northern.
Oh, I was actually going to pick Tavon for the main one because it looks like he was.
I already explained the rules of this earlier. So pick someone else.
I'm going to have to go with Vic then, because he gets most of the screen time, and he once again shows to be what a double-crossing bastard he can be, but also how resourceful and ruthless he can be as well. And once again, he just sells the full-on menace of this sociopath, but he still does a good job sort of making you sympathise with him a little bit with his the whole divorce thing going on, even though he wasn't really a divorce, and his wife is probably at fault for going to a divorce lawyer in the first place, whether it was to consider it or not. But once again, Vic just sells it all. He sells. You can hate him, but you can feel bad for him as well. You can be scared of him, but you can also find him charming at the same time. And Michael Chiklis can really pull that off.
You brought up an interesting point there. Who on the panel, say yes if you believe so, believes Corinne's story, or do you not believe it and that she was really setting up things for a divorce? Very quickly. Okay, so you believe she wasn't, she was just doing what she said. Northern?
Yeah, she probably was considering it, and then probably was going to tell Vic about it, but then she saw that and decided to make it worse. I don't know. She probably could have. She probably was thinking about it, but then finally saw him with the ladies' shows out there, knowing that he slept with someone, and decided, you know what, fuck it, I am going to divorce this bastard.
All right, longest yes, no convoluted answer ever, but okay. Tox, yeah, is she being truthful or not?
Of course she's not being truthful.
Okay, good. Inside man?
I think she is. I think she is being truthful. I think I just think that this is a case of a lawyer and a private eye that are trying to squeeze as much money out of him as possible.
All right, okay. Darth, who's your pick for actor of the week?
I'm going to address really quickly what you said about Kern and the interaction with Vic.
Yeah, no, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. There's an angle you're not considering. That is earlier in the episode when they went to Frogger's flat to look for Frogger, and they hit the answering machine, and it was Kern warning Frogger that the cops were coming. That tells Vic that Kern can't keep his mouth shut. Do you really want to go into a criminal enterprise with this guy who can't keep his mouth shut?
Good point.
Good point. Yeah.
All right. To answer the question, best man for this week, aside from Michael Chiklis, of course, I'm going to give it to Julian, because I think this might be one of Julian's best episodes, if not his best episode.
Yeah, I was tempted to go with Michael Jace for this one.
All right, so I'll take the hit.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. You get to run off with Tomas into the sunset. Okay. Favorite lines, standout scenes. I already said what my favorite line was, which is the scene with Dutch where he just, says, well, you're on camera, so now everybody knows you're a liar. I thought that was proper good. My favorite moment in this episode, that's quite tricky, but I actually think it's probably when the girl is brought into the barn and the camera sort of drifts with her, but your attention is drawn to the way all the people in the background are reacting to her presence. I thought that was a really brilliant bit of direction. There's almost no dialogue in that particular moment. It's all about how everyone's reacting to her, which says it all when you believe or don't believe her. And it's interesting. It's really well done. I did like that moment. So Inside Man.
Yeah, exactly the same favorite line as yourself. And that's
very good.
Believe it or not, that's my favorite scene. I just like the way
you copy me every week. I
just like the way Dutch checks himself on that.
He does. He's one of the few people to check himself actually in that moment, I think.
Yeah, and it's almost like hang on, I've been here before, but he kind of snaps out of it, and that's what makes it my favorite scene.
Yeah, well, it's just you and I have such great similar taste. Tox.
I love Brian White Tavon's line when he charms the manager and is like, "You could let us in if you wanted to," and he just he gives her those.
Yeah, that's a good moment.
God, when you have somebody on the team like that can pull the charm out of their butt like that's what you want. That's what you need right there. And I was like, man, I like this guy right away.
Yeah. And also I think in America, particularly, having an officer of the same race is to address or curtail a potential witness or something to helping or assisting, probably really important. So, but anyway, okay. Northern.
My wife took my son at 20 months. You know what he calls the asshole she left me for? Daddy.
Yeah, that's a good line.
It's both funny, sad, and stuff like that does happen, unfortunately, and there is a tragedy to the humour of the situation.
What's your favourite scene?
Probably Jeff Corbett confessing once he realizes he has no choice, and his wife.
That's a good scene. And she
the look
just
on his
storms
face
out.
as he realizes
You're never going to see your kids again.
Crumbling. Yeah. His whole world just crumbles, and you can see it on his face. The total despair is brilliant. Good acting, man. Good acting.
Yeah. I did like that scene. Good choice. Darth.
My favorite scene is exactly what Northern just said. The investigator leading Vic by the nose and delivering that awful line. Oh, my kid called the other guy daddy now. Yeah. It certainly did its job in lighting a fire under Vic's butt and putting him in the direction he should be going. As far as best scene goes, there's a number of good scenes in this episode. I like this episode a lot. The Vic Corrine confrontation is very visceral. I like that scene a lot. The Vic chewing it out with Kearns, great scene. I love that. He chewing out Lenny, like you said, doing these little. There's just so many good scenes. Oh man.
Yeah, I did like the scene at the end with the baby as well. I thought that was a really.
I think the best scene, if I had to choose one scene that got the biggest pop for me, was probably the wife going ballistic on the husband who says he couldn't help himself. That was a masterclass in how to flush your life down the toilet. Don't be that guy. He got it and he deserved it.
I know. Was she actually 16? Because that's kind of sex with a minor, isn't it? So yeah, he's a low life. He is.
Stop it, you guys, stop.
Don't walk into the orbit of the penis flytrap. Okay. All right. So quick final wrap up and rating out of 10. Good solid episode. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Like the progression with the characters, some really good, quite touching, heartfelt moments. Great supporting cast. Just a good all-round solid one. Inside Man.
Yeah, good episode. Not a great episode for me. 7. Just, I don't know, a little bit of incoherence about it for me. Just a little bit of instability, I think, in the episode.
You sure that wasn't the 10 beers that you had drunk while you were watching it?
It may well have been.
Okay. All right. Tox.
Solid 8 out of 10. Good episode. Again, downward slope towards the finale. I think you guys are being a little too harsh on the PI and the lawyer thing. There's a tactic in the US where if you even just speak to a lawyer to get a consultation, your spouse that's going to be trying to divorce you, they can't speak to that lawyer anymore. So you limit their options. So that was good legal advice. I don't think they were necessarily squeezing Vic for money. It was good. And I don't believe Corinne anyway. So, and I could tell she was lying. Her lips were moving.
Okay. On that, Northern.
I give it an 8 out of 10. I thought it was pretty decent.
Yeah, good. Darth.
I think there's a bit of an underestimation of this episode. I think it is a stronger episode than giving it credit for. So I'm going to give it a strong 8, low 9. It's not as good as the other 9s I've given to the season, so it's right on the cusp between an 8 and a 9.
We're getting very technical. I'll just go with 8.5.
I only deal with whole numbers.
Oh,
so I'll give it.
Well, then you've got to pick one or the other. It can't be both.
Yeah, I'll give you a 9. But I just wanted to caveat that.
All right.
Whole numbers.
Okay. All right. Good score for this episode. All round. We're gonna move on. That's good because that's the first hour of the show. We're gonna move on to Breakpoint. So this is This is a good episode. It's any time they do an episode involving kind of kidnapping of kids, kidnapping of children, anything to do with that sort of topic is always, you know, it's always a difficult watch. So this episode is directed by Felix Enrique Acalala. I really hope I did that enunciation justice. He is still with us. California original. He has directed episodes of Battlestar Galactica, Third Watch, Goosebumps, 911, Lone Star, Promised Land, SEAL Team, Charmed, How to Get Away with Murder, Manifest, Mayans MC. You know, the list goes on. He's got 108 credits as director, so pretty experienced director. And I think it did show, because this episode is extremely well directed. I mean, he's, you know, if you look at his earlier credits, his first job was on directing 2 episodes of Homefront in 1991, and he did things like South Beach, Lois and Clark, before moving into more kind of gritty stuff like NYPD Blue. And he did Sliders, he did Space Above and Beyond. You know, so he's done a fair number of things. He also had the privilege of working with Steven Seagal on Fire Down Below. He directed Fire Down Below with
bastard.
Steven Seagal. Yeah, do watch Space Ice's videos on Steven Seagal's films. I firmly endorse that man's channel and love his breakdowns of that kept me entertained for many an evening.
He just kept that sweet Seagal air.
Yeah, always a scene in a strip club, probably a real strip club. The episode is written by Shawn Ryan, Glenn Mazzara, and Kim Clements, who that trio have done episodes before, of course. Yeah, so this really it's got many threads, but we kind of pick up on the storyline of Dutch not quite being on his A game. Main narrative of the episode is a kid has gone missing, and the father is around and sort of trying to get directly involved. His son may or may not have been gay, and then there's another kid who'd gone missing before. An African-American kid, so, you know, not quite as high profile a case. And his body turns up. He turns up dead. So the race is on to find the kid that's living. You know, and of course, the typical narrative is some paedophiles got him in a cellar somewhere. They have a main suspect whom they follow. Turns out not to be him. In the meantime, a campaign of terror kicks in against Julian, which coincides with the decision being made by David Acevedo to terminate various people on behest of the chief of police. And 2 of the cops who have been targeting Julian and making sort of homophobic comments, and they do Xerox pictures of him on the put it on the wall, you know, warning I have AIDS and this kind of thing. They're fired. One of them, of course, is played by Frank Grillo, who would go on to have a pretty spectacular career and still very much a working actor. In terms of other sort of stories, we got a bit more with Tomas. That kind of narrative is coming to a certain position. I'm just trying to think. There's all the stuff surrounding the mayor's cuts, and CCH Pounder is being courted by the chief of police as potentially being the next captain. And David Acevedo is really sort of planning his campaign, but he is coming to the end of his campaign, his electoral campaign, but he's expecting to lose. He's not expecting to win. Have I missed out anything? I think that's most of the stuff in this episode. I think I missed out anything. I watched these on Friday, Went to a rave on Saturday, so it's possibly I may have forgotten some things.
I'll say everything there.
I think I cut. I think it's because the storyline with the missing kid takes up a huge portion of the episode. Very much is the focus, and that on screen. Go back one. Sorry, this. Go back a couple of stills. This is the suspect who is the prime candidate, they think, for taking the missing kid. Great performance, actually, by this supporting actor. And turns out that he is not the person who has taken the kid. And the kid is going on a campaign of terror of his own, which culminates in them tracking him down, surrounding his house. And we find out that him and his best mate have actually been robbing gay rent boys and stealing their money and so on. They've assaulted a couple of them and things like that. So this guy's kid, who initially is portrayed as sort of sweet and innocent, is actually a bad kid. And the father has got real anger management issues, all kinds of things. So it's not really that surprising that he's turned out the way he does. We never see the kid in the episode, which is quite interesting. The search for this kid is the focus of the episode. We see him in a photograph, and we see him right at the end when he gets shot by Shane, I think. And or Shane gets shot, and then who shoots through the window? Lem shoots through the window and kills the kid after Shane gets shot. That's right. Shane gets shot while approaching the door, but he's got his vest on, gets the wind knocked out of him. And Lem is really cut up by killing the kid. Great performance from that actor. He's really cut up because he's basically just killed a child. And he has a hard time dealing with that, which I thought was well played. Shane's shock as well as being shot, really well done. And you can see he's actually, he's got a bit of PTSD there with that. So, it's a good episode. It's got there's more tension, little bit of action than usual, and continuation of the other narratives. I thought it was a great episode. Again, very good supporting actors. We'll talk about them more in a minute. So, Inside Man, are you less grumpy on this one? Had you consumed more beers or less beers when you watched episode 12?
Well, I'll kind of forego the usual sort of curmudgeonly comments about this, but this was actually one of my favourite episodes of the entire season. I thought it was just an amazingly well written, well acted, well directed episode.
You got out on the right side of the bed when you watched this episode. Clearly,
the reason I really like this episode is because it was an episode that really made me quite angry. It really wound me up, particularly in the interrogation scene towards the end with the kid. That just the whole thing really got to me. By the end of it, my blood was absolutely boiling. I can't say anything better than that. It's just a fantastic episode. Really one of the best. I think this is actually one of the best of the whole 2 seasons so far, if I'm completely honest.
Wow.
It really is one of my absolute favorites. Yeah.
It was a very strong episode, and I wasn't feeling well on Friday night, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to put the Shield on because I've got to watch it anyway, and I might not get to watch it on Sunday daytime as usual. So perhaps let me get it out the way now, because I'm certainly not going to see it tomorrow because they don't screen the Shield on the dance floor of the Camden Palace while you're there.
Well, they should.
I mean, it could be interesting. I'm not sure it would work with the music, but so I watched it on Friday, and I was sort of like on episode 11. I mean, you don't have to work too hard to stay awake when you're watching the Shield. But episode 11, I was kind of nodding a bit and sort of thinking, I'll probably be ready to sleep soon. But let me get episode 12. Episode 12 perked me up and made me awake to such a degree. I thought I'm going to watch the finale as well. I'm pumped up now. I want to see the final episode. So I watched all 3 of them.
Nice.
So I completely agree with you.
pumped up is the right word. I think it had that combination of disturbing topic in the storyline.
Yeah.
What we thought was going to be something really quite disturbing, and it sort of shook me up a little bit. But of course, when we got to the end and we knew exactly what was going on, really kind of really pressed some buttons for me. Just brilliant, just brilliantly made. Wonderful episode.
All right, great. Tox?
Yeah, no, a lot of recurring themes, both with this episode and with our rewatch, because I don't really care for this. And it's weird. I usually follow Inside Man when he says he likes one. I usually don't, and vice versa. And I think we're going to continue that trend. This is it just seems like this is a lot of familiar territories getting done. And again, I know, and I've said this on many rewatches, the penultimate episode is a real thankless job trying to set up for the finale, but I just felt like we've covered all this territory before. The subversion of expectations when we think that somebody's innocent and they're actually guilty, like the old lady that unalived her kid, and all of this grimy stuff that we've seen before, and Lem being the heart of the group and having to make a really hard choice and regretting it, and Shane, I mean, it was a great, I can still remember the trailer for the episode all those years ago, and Shane getting shot, and them being upset about it and worried, and it was like that's where they left it. But it just Shane's not going to get killed, so it's just it was a lot of that same story beats, and the Julian thing is just really uninteresting to me. I mean, I know it was 20 years ago, but I just can't believe that anyone would really give a shit that Julian was gay in LA. Like, come on, man. That's just not, so much stuff in this episode is
well, no, I'm gonna push back on that, and that might be a
push
poor
away.
choice of word. Might be a poor choice of words, but having lived in LA for 3 months, and having lived with an African American actor, I stayed at his house. The divide between heterosexual and homosexual, because we were 3 blocks from the gay sort of there's like a gay crossroads where there's 4 gay bars and whatnot. I could forget the junction in LA, and you go down there and there's a lot of tranny hookers wandering around, transgender, transsexual hookers, and a lot of gay bars and whatever. And he was in conversation with him, and also in conversation with other people. I was amazed. This is in 2005, so this is while The Shield is still airing. Probably would have been on season 3 by then. I was amazed at the level of homophobia that existed, and it was very, very, very prevalent to me. And so if it existed among certain people in the population I met and hung out with, it definitely would have existed still within the police.
Yeah,
well, they are a cross-section population. Yeah. So,
but doesn't this fall within that period of the in law enforcement and military, the don't ask, don't tell thing? Yeah, I had
a gay guy in my. I mean, not to poo on your anecdotal experience, Lance. I'm sure it's valid. However, I like I told you, I used to watch these episodes in real time with my squad. We'd come over. One of the guys in my squad was gay. Nobody made a big deal about it. I mean, there'd be like off-color jokes as you do, but nobody really said boo about it. It always seemed really contrived, like a lot of manipulation for the episode. And it's not the only thing. If it was the only thing, I'd probably give it a little bit, more leeway, but it's just, there's a lot of contrived stuff in this that is just, I could see the writers trying to kind of twist the knife and do stuff to get a reaction. And I get it. It's, they're building up the drama, prior to the end. And, you have that shocking thing that, I mean, really the only thing that is Dutch would have gotten in a lot more trouble for his statement than, almost anything else that happened. But everything else was just really, it just seemed really contrived to me, a lot of these things. But, it is,
okay,
it's
all right.
still good.
I'm afraid the sand timer has run out. Your
That's
time is
fine.
up. So, Northern, your overall thoughts on the episode, briefly.
Yeah, it wasn't so bad. I mean, I think Vic is showing that he's still a bit of a sociopath because he gets a civilian involved in this case just to speed up the results, which I don't think is very legal, but I do buy that Vic would do that kind of thing. But I do like the guy who's the stepdad and is worried about his son. I do like the little confliction that they have at the end when they have to take his son down and he has to tell him that they killed his son because they had no choice, which because I think Vic really does kind of see himself in this guy a little bit as well. He's because he's just he's had this trouble with his kid as well, and I do like the fact.
I think Vic's a bit homophobic as well.
Is he?
You know,
he looked like he was a little bit more supportive towards Julian than the other guy.
But he's playing the game with Julian, pretending to be supportive.
Oh yeah, he's obviously using him,
when he need him. But you can. I mean, he's not. I'm not saying he's going to go around beating up gays or anything like that. But I think he'd be the sort of father that would be like, no son of mine's going to be gay. He'd be that kind of dad. So I think, and that's the kind of dad that guy is. So
do you think it was him that wrote "For anal sex, ring Julian" on the wall?
No, not the dad. That's one of the coppers. Yeah, it was Frank Grillo wrote that.
Yeah. But I do like the fact that Acevedo comes across like he's standing up to his the guys that the higher ups, the bureaucrats that he's trying to get in with. He's not giving two fucks anymore. And I like how Claudette is kind of evolving a little bit now. She's not just gonna sit by and just keep her head down now. She's like, listen, Acevedo is in it for himself. Vic's in it for himself. These guys are jeopardizing good coppers from doing their job. So if no one else is going to take the mantle and stop these people, I'm going to have to be the one that does it. She's kind of like a black female Serpico in a way.
Yeah, it's like she's been presented with the opportunity of making a real difference.
Yeah. I like it. It's a good little character, bit of development for a character. It gives CC each pounder something even more juicy to work with.
Yeah, gotta love the CC. Yeah. Okay. Darth, please now present your contravening thoughts and theories.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is definitely an episode that winds you up. It starts off. It starts off making me think, oh, it's going to be a cherry popper kind of episode, like difficult territory ahead.
Yeah.
And then it shifts to something that I really didn't see coming. I really didn't see this whole skinhead kid mouthing off in the room. That was hard. It's hard to watch, like Cherry Poppers was hard to watch. It's different. It's you don't want to touch it, but that doesn't mean it's not a good episode. So we see Acevedo and Claudette both are trying to seem like they're trying to rise to a new level. Acevedo thinks he's going to lose, so he's I guess he's trying to say, I'm going to be a good cop again. He said, I'm not going to the rally. I'm going to solve this. I'm going to solve this case. So for what it's worth, it was good to see Acevedo trying to be a good cop again. And Claudette turned down the offer to be the captain just to ambush the guy at dinner and say, actually, I'll take the job after all. I've been ambushed like that before. I don't appreciate it. So I can't imagine he ambushed that the captain or the chief, probably didn't much care for it either. But I have to wonder why what's Claudette's motive for doing this? Does she really want to make a difference, or does she just want to get Vic?
No, she wants to get Vic. She wants to get Vic.
Right.
She believes will make a difference, I think. So it's 2 for 1, really.
Yeah, so this has now become the main artery of the series right now. It's this Vic and Claudette angle, and then it makes me wonder who's the real protagonist of the series.
Yeah.
Is it really Vic or is it Claudette?
Yeah.
Who's the protagonist here? I'm not really sure.
Well, Vic is the antagonist of the series, and Claudette is the protagonist, I would argue. So
that's what the writers might want you to think, but who has the top billing? Has there ever been a top billing where the villain is really the top billing? I don't know the answer to that.
Well, I mean, there's a strong argument that Die Hard is really Alan Rickman's film, and
maybe
Bruce Willis is a supporting character.
Okay. Imagine someone saying, "Who was the main character of Deep Space Nine?" Oh, go Dukat. I don't know about that. I mean, I like Dukat, but I don't know if he was the main character. But that's all I got.
It's the Taylor. It's the Cardassian Taylor. Clearly. All right. Let's not go down a Deep Space Nine rabbit hole. I do love that show. Actually, it might be interesting to do a panel on that sometime. Okay, so. Your pick for supporting cast member of the episode. You can only pick one. So we're not doing the Tavon second choice option on this one. You can pick one and one only. Okay, so your picks are, let's get the cast list up here. Quite a number of people. And I'm going to also bring up a moment of trivia that Toxic mentioned earlier. So we have Brian White again. He's still a supporting character really in this episode. I think he'll count as a lead for the remainder of when we go into season 3 and his episodes there. He'll count as a lead for that season. We also have Ron Canada again, who's the chief of police. We talked about him I think last week. I think a couple of us picked him. Great actor, still alive. I'd love to get him on. He's had such an amazing career. I must see if I can find him. So yeah, he would be great to get on. We have the Hispanic actor, Efrain Figueroa. He's a great actor. He's got great presence in the scenes he's in. He doesn't get a lot to do, but he's one of the few people that can put fear into Acevedo's character because Acevedo knows that he needs him. So yeah, I did like him. We got Brent Rome again as Thomas. Frank Grillo has quite a bit of screen time in this episode and several lines. So if you want to pick him, you can. Pretty good in the episode. I mean, the characters are a little bit one-dimensional because we only ever really see one side to them. We don't ever see if they're good police or if they are particularly good at their job. So Joel Bissonette, this is the guy. I think who was it? Is this the guy you said auditioned for The Shield 11 times or something, Tox?
I mean, that's what IMDb says.
Yeah. So I thought he was really good. Not a nice role to play. This kind of borderline paedophile gay man. But I thought he played him well. I thought that's a really difficult role to play. Is he just gay or is he a paedophile, etc. And tough ask. 59 acting credits. Last one is 2020. He's also been in NCIS Los Angeles. They must have liked him because they kept calling him back. He's in The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. I'll have to find out from Jason Flemyng if they got to meet. See what I can see what I can find out about that man. So yeah, we also have Roy Fegan, who's a very interesting looking actor. He's not in the episode for very long, but he's got couple of great scenes, great look. That's not a face you want to be staring at down a dark alley one night, is it really? Yeah, very intimidating look, very, very good presence. So Don McManus, who played Blaine, pretty small role. But I've seen this guy in loads of stuff. He's a great actor, actually. 167 roles on IMDb. That should tell you something about how much people like to hire him if he's working that regularly. He's also done 6 episodes of Sorry for Your Loss, 4 episodes of the Valhalla Murders. Last acting credit on IMDb is 2024, so very much still the working actor, and he's got 4 credits for 2024 alone. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what my favorite role of his was. I saw him in one thing in particular where he was really good. He does voices for Fallout 4 as well. That's interesting. Wasn't the Maze Runner. I won't spend too long on this, but just have a quick look.
I think he was a lot of villains in Nancy's movies, though.
He was. I mean, he played little villains in things like 24 and stuff like that. It might have been Kill Shot, because that's a kind of a little underrated movie. Might have been that. But there was one role where he was particularly good, very creepy. You know, kind of, you were scared when he was on the screen. Do you know what I mean? I like him. Good actor, solid actor. He'd be a great person to get on as well. Really interesting career. We also have Camilla Monet, who plays Acevedo's wife. She's great. Love her. Fantastic actress. We talked about her a fair bit in season 1 as well. She doesn't get to do too much in season 2, but when she's there, you know it. Let's have a look at just a couple of the others. I don't want to miss anybody out here. Con Barrett. Which character was she playing in the app? Anyone?
No.
Anyone? No? Okay, well, if no one can remember her, then my guess was she's not a pick. Autumn Chilkis is in the episode very briefly, though, as Vic's daughter and actual daughter in real life. Matt Corboy, he's the second kind of homophobic policeman.
Yeah, he's the other cop.
He doesn't get a lot to do, but I like him as an actor. He does enough to tell us everything we need to know about his character. Still very much a jobbing actor. Rescue High Surf, one of Inside Man's favorite shows. 3 episodes of that in 2024. Look forward to doing a deep dive on that with the Inside Man. Deep dive. See what I did there? Rescue High Surf. Deep dive.
Oh,
yeah.
So clever, Lance.
Not an award-winning writer for nothing, you know. I think that's probably everybody we can consider for guest actor of the week. Got Barry Sigmondi, who played the sheriff. He's a good jobbing actor. He's in almost every role he's been in. He's either played a soldier, a cop, or a prison officer. So unlucky for him, he's kind of typecast, but always good, always a solid actor. So I think that's probably everyone. It's a couple of choices here. But do you know what? I'm gonna go with Frank Grillo on this one. Because he's got great presence. It doesn't have a lot to do, but he's got great presence in the scenes he's in, and that probably would explain why he went on to have such a successful career. Nick says that pun was so deep you could drown a witch in it. I see what you did there. Keep those coming.
Only if she wears the same as a duck.
Yeah. Yeah. So Frank Grillo for me. Inside Man.
I'm actually going to go with the young lad at the end. What's his name in the interview? What's the young lad's name at the end?
You're talking about the one off the street.
The little neo-Nazi shit.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to say that.
God, do you know what? I don't think I called him out. I think that's what's the name of the kid that goes missing? Is it Kyle or Jeffrey? I forget.
Jeffrey goes missing. Yeah.
Right. So I think we're talking about Kyle. Yeah. This guy was good.
He was
really good. Damn, man, I did him a disservice there by not putting him in the lineup. I'm so thankful to you, Inside Man, for correcting that for me. He was very good in the episode. Very good. Actually, I could have picked him, to be fair.
I just thought that he was very, very convincing, and
he was.
It kind of went from, we sort of went from Cherry Poppers to American History X, in the blink of an eye, and it just really, really took another dark turn. But yeah, he was great. He was great because he really wound me up. I really wanted to punch this kid in the face.
It's interesting that you
stamp on his throat.
Interesting that you mentioned American History X. Apart from the fact that Tony K was watching earlier, he may still be watching. Was that came out about a couple of years, or about a year, maybe even a year before this was made. It was around that time, early 2000s.
Yeah, I thought it may have had a little bit of an influence on it, actually.
I think so. This kid has been acting since a very young age. He was born the year Star Wars came out, which, of course, me and the Inside Man got to see at the cinema, as did Darth Plato with his time machine. So yeah, the Shield, only his third acting credit. So yeah, I think you made the right choice there. You know, and much credit to him. He went and did American Pie band camp, and then at band camp and so on. And I can see he's kind of a bit typecast as the cute kid into the kind of the High School the Musical genre of type stuff from looking at his credits, which maybe seems a bit of a shame because he clearly has a good range. Big credit in a feature film for National Treasure, which also starred an acting buddy of mine called David Dayan Fisher. Yeah, okay, good choice, Tox.
I'm gonna go. You know what? Until he's a regular, I'm just going with Tavon for all the guest appearances and everything. Up until he's a lead character because he doesn't get enough attention, and I'm gonna give it to Tavon.
You're not gonna give it to this guy. You sure?
I can't give it to that guy because it would be a conflict of interest because he and I dated in prison. So
I thought so. Yeah,
he was my bottom. Yeah,
I didn't want to bring that up.
No, it's okay. I'm not ashamed of it.
Best honey buns for him, didn't you?
He did get a couple tasty honey buns from me. Yeah,
it's good that it's nice that he's still wearing the present around his neck. That you.
It is not. Yeah, I wish we would have had that inside. It would have made it a lot easier to keep. You know, because he's a squirmer. But yeah, no. Yeah, that's my pick.
We could talk.
I wish I could pull off the dog collar like him. I really wish I could.
We could talk about the various things on display in the background of this, but we'll move on. So, Northern, who's your pick?
I'd probably say Roy Fegan as the stepdad because he was the one guest character I really sympathised with. He was an idiot, but he did kind of want to do the right thing. He wanted to get his son back, and just to see his face when Vic has to tell him that they had to take his son down. Come on, you can see his heart just sinking. I just felt bad for him, and he was kind of right to punch Dutch because Dutch was kind of being a bit of an asshole there.
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah, I mean, he was completely spatially unaware of his surroundings, which consider the nature of the barn, and he's been there a while now. Was unforgivable. Dutch getting punched. This is the lady who we couldn't. This is her scene. There you go. She was good. In this scene. He has real presence. I think that's a good choice, and I did debate going with him. Really good. I mean, he's quite intimidating. You're scared of him. You think,
I won't fuck with him.
This is a father who beats up his kids, you know. So that's good. Okay, Darth.
Okay, so my first, second, third, and fourth choice for
you only get one.
Actor.
One.
Oh, come on.
One.
I'm gonna choose the dad.
Do you want to go with the lady that we all forgot?
No, I'm gonna go with the dad. The guy went off in this episode. The dude was awesome. I'm not just picking the guy because he beat the crap out of Dutch and someone needed to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Dutch getting assaulted was
that was quite a thing to see. Dutch being put face first on the floor like that was quite a thing to see. He's my top choice. The kid, look at it was a visceral scene. The kid in the being interrogated. It was I did consider choosing him because precisely for what Inside Man said, it really made you sit up and go, "Whoa, who the hell is this kid? Oh my gosh!" And but I had to go with the dad. It made me have the question though: when this episode originally aired in the U.S. or in the UK, either which way, was the language was the kid's language edited?
No, it wouldn't have been at that time. It would be now, but it certainly wouldn't have been at that time.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah, well, two people picked Roy Fegan, and not without good reason. So, he was outstanding in this episode. Yeah. He is still a working actor. He's also done a bit of producing and a bit of directing as well.
And also the emotional drop that he has when he's in the cell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great moment. It's no dialogue even required for that scene. But which of the leading cast stole your heart for this episode? Well, I know who I'm picking. I'm gonna give this one actually to. I mean, I could pick Michael Chiklis again because he's got a great narrative. He really wants to break this case. He wants to come through for this father character, possibly more than any other case we've seen him work on up to that time. But and the fact that he can't deliver that scene is really powerful. Vic's face. Etc. But I gave it to Michael Chiklis last episode. I'm actually going to give this episode to Catherine Dent because I like the scenes that she gets. She doesn't get loads, but I thought she was really fucking good in this episode. And one of the things I really like about her, because I don't know if you guys have seen an interview with her, but she'd never fired a gun in her life before she did this job, and she hadn't done like military roles or a role where she had to, confidently use a gun, look like she knew what she was doing. So she had to kind of do all of that stuff as part of, training for the role. But one of the reasons I like Catherine Dent so much as an actress is if I met her on the street and she was this character, I would totally buy it that she was a real policewoman. And the fact that that's such the polar opposite of who she is in real life, have to give her, I've got to pick her one time in this season because I could have picked her many times. I think she's a phenomenal actress, and I have to say, massively underrated. I would expect her to have been given leads in kind of like Oscar type films after this show, because you could put her up against any A-list actress, Reese Witherspoon, any of them, Oprah Winfrey, whatever. She would hold her own in any scene with any A-list actress. Absolutely 100%, no doubt. So, so I'm picking Catherine Dent, by the way. Small cameo from the Inside Man there in the yellow. Inside Man, on that topic, how did you find working with Catherine Dent in this scene, and who is your choice?
She was an absolute dream.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
I like your shorts. So, who's your choice? Who's your choice for episode 12?
Do you know, I wanted to go for somebody else, but I couldn't give it to anybody other than Chiklis, to be honest.
No,
there's so
he
much
does
going on
have
with him.
He's got some great scenes.
Yeah. I mean, he does. He is dominating the episode. I think, there's so many things going on with him. But also, we see a kind of a side of him that we don't see that often, where he is so incredibly dedicated to being part of this wider team, trying to bring somebody in, trying to bring in a potential child killer. And he is part of the wider team, and he, it's almost like he's taking charge of that entire the entire barn. Really, it's almost like he's heading the barn at the time, whilst he's going after this guy. He just feels quite omnipotent, I think, in this episode. I loved him in it. Really, really loved him in it.
This little scene with him and CCH Pounder was great as well.
Yeah,
quite short, but the two of them together, it's just like two champion boxers in a ring, isn't it? Who's going to land the first blow? Such great stuff. Great. I have a feeling Toxic's pick's going to be the same, but surprise us if you will.
Well, I wish I could surprise you, but I think Vic. I agree. It's Chiklis, and I think Vic always comes off at his best when it comes to helping children, doesn't he? That's kind of a recurring.
Yeah.
Redeems him.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
I think it's the dad in him, but I also think there's no ambiguity about that with him. It's one of those things that even his flexible morality can't get behind, with maybe the exception of the Cherry Poppers episode, and that's the reason I didn't like the episode. I don't think he can allow for children to be hurt. I don't think that he can get around that fact. I don't, So I think it's good.
I think it's an interesting point that you're right. He does very much have a fixed position on that. That's inflexible. There is no swaying him from that fixed position when it comes to the safety of children, and that really does give him a high degree of morality. But of course, everything else around him shows otherwise. But no, I think it's a really good point, actually.
Okay, let's push on with haste as we've only got 23 minutes left. Northern, favorite lead
I will
actor?
say Acevedo because he kind of surprised me, but at the same time, he kept me wondering: is he really trying to be a decent guy this time? Is he really actually putting his ambitions aside to do the right thing by his officers as well as the people that he's supposed to be serving? But I just loved it. I just love seeing him have a little bit of redemption if that is the case, unless there is some other agenda that I might have missed. And yeah, he does a good job, and he even maintains control of the station, maintains some kind of discipline.
Yeah, it's quite nice that he's sort of at his best in a way when the light is at the end of the tunnel. So he's maybe to some degree he's less afraid to stand up to the right people and put his foot down when required.
Yeah, because he's got no fucks to give anymore, does he?
No, exactly. He's not going to have to deal with it the following week, is he? Yeah, Darth. So Benito Martinez for you, Darth. Who's your choice?
Well, first of all, let me say that I appreciate what you said about Yanni, the actress there, because she doesn't get enough attention. She really doesn't, not even from us. As far as my top pick, I'm going to go with Acevedo, because I thought that we had a real change in his character. And I thought he sold it well. I don't know what else to say about it. Well, aside from Chicklets, of course.
Yeah,
so aside from Chicklets, I'll give it to Acevedo.
It would be so easy for me to pick Chicklets for so many episodes, but The Shield is an ensemble piece, and this is probably one of Chicklets' strongest episodes. But we do 2 episodes per week, and I will refrain from picking the same actor for both if I can.
So for that reason,
they're all so good. It's such a hard. I give you such a hard job of picking one, but
speaking of Danny, did they completely drop the Muslim lady angle? We haven't heard anything from it.
Yeah, that kind of. I think that sort of narratives. Yeah, it's kind of
just disappeared.
Well, I mean, it's still there in the sense that it's part of the reason why she's on the list for potentially getting fired. And
wait a second, she was said that you have a restraining order against you, and then that's it. They never mentioned it again.
Yeah.
Well,
restraining orders in TV drama only last as long as they're required for dramatic
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay, all right. Let's let's move on. Thanks for that. So your favorite scene, favorite line, both of them if you can. I'm really torn on the favorite scene because on the one hand, seeing Dutch get smacked in the mouth is, for completely, I think we're all in agreement that that's a very justifiable, reasoning. That's a good scene, but it's more just kind of, it's satisfying. I'm not going to pick it for the best dramatic moment. This whole sequence is also absolutely fantastic. Shane getting shot, Lem then shooting the kid through the window. Lem's, the impact on Lem, really visceral. It's nice that Kenny Johnson got to, show a bit of range, show that he is actually a very competent actor. But I'm going to have to, my favorite scene is going to have to be the moment where Chicklets tells the dad that his son is dead. And Chicklets is right there with him in his grief. He's bereft. He feels like he's failed him as a mutual father. not just as a policeman. So that scene for me, it's quite short, but it had such power, especially Chiklis's face just after he's told him. I think there's actually a shot of that here somewhere. I saw it earlier. It's got incredible weight. I like the standoff between Cece and Chiklis as well, Vic and Claudette. That's a great moment. I mean, this episode is packed full of good stuff from an acting and drama point of view. These interview scenes are all really good as well, but just the stillness and the power with less is more for that final moment with the dad, I think, is what gets it for me. Best line. I've got to be honest, I can't recall a specific line, so I'll pick Dutch's line that gets him smacked in the face as a segue into a great moment in the episode. To be fair, it's great because it's so Dutch, no tact whatsoever, and saying it all as kind of an intellectual show off, basically, which is what he is a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's almost like not only does he not read the room particularly well, but these thoughts are coming out of his mouth rather than staying in his head.
Yeah,
he's articulating them just a little too often.
Yeah, that's called doing a lance in general terms. Okay, so Inside Man, what about for you?
It has to be the final interrogation scene with the young lad. I thought it was an outstanding piece of acting on both parts.
The kid is terrifying in it.
He really is. Yeah, he's the kind of kid that you genuinely would not want to be stuck in a room with that kind of mentality, that sort of focus of his mentality and his prejudices. There's nothing that would possibly conceivably sway this kid out of his mindset. In terms of dialogue, the entire interview, the entire exchange of dialogue between him and Vic, I think is just superb writing. Just amazing.
Yeah, good choices. Toxic.
I like the final scene with where they go in on the kid and the big spoiler of what's actually been going on, and I'm glad you pointed that out. I never noticed before that we never really see the kid. I never put that together.
We see the picture perfect version of him in the photograph that the father brings in, which conveys completely the wrong impression as to who he is. And therefore that's also the audience perception up until the point that it all unravels in the final act. So
I think I would give it to Claudette for best quote. If I'm paraphrasing, but I think when she says something to the effect of I don't want to be you right now, or I really don't want to be you right now, or something to that effect, I think that's probably the best quote. And I'm always going to give it to CCH Pounder, and she always delivers anyway, but I think they give her a lot to work with this season. What's
that final line that she says to Vic in that little exchange? Do you remember it? That was good.
You're putting me on the spot.
Her delivery was just fucking on point. It was so good, man. So good.
Now this is a lot. She gets a lot of good, and it's all. You know what I like about Claudette's character?
You can't understand it, can you? I think is what she said.
Yeah. She's like, you just can't understand it. Yeah, because I mean, they're almost speaking two different languages, are they? Because they're two completely different kind of cops. But nothing she ever says or does is against her character. Nothing. You never see a Claudette scene in the show that I can think of where you go, Claudette would never say that. Claudette would never do that. You know what I mean? Like everything that she does is in service to the character that she creates. And I wonder, that's probably a testament to CCH Pounder probably, because they probably at some point in a lengthy show like this probably said, hey, you know what we'd like to get Claudette to do? Let's have her go against her type a little bit and do that. And she's probably like, no, Claudette wouldn't do that. And I bet she stood on business with that. So yeah, I'll go with that.
This is your runner-up favorite scene, of course, on the screen.
Listen, you know what? He's not going to call me again if you're going to keep outing him in that manner. Okay?
Well, we'll leave that there. Okay, Northern, got your favorite scene, line of dialogue?
Yeah, it was Vic telling William that he had to take down his son, because to tell him that he had to kill this guy's son was probably him feeling like he had to tell himself he had to kill his own son, in a way, because they're both fathers, aren't they? They're both worried about their kids, and it is one of the few times where Vic isn't just manipulating people. There is something genuine there. There is something actually humane about in that area. And like Toxic said, it's like he just can't bear to see anything bad happen to the kids as a father himself. And
this is a good episode for pointing out how clever the show is at constantly manipulating the audience with the love-hate Vic relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something we've really got to say about this episode. It's really, because, I've said it before, you wouldn't necessarily want to be going in on a bust with this guy as the guy looking out for your back necessarily. Right. But if your kid went missing, you want Vic on the case, because he's going to be like a pit bull. Until,
that is really on point, Lance. Good.
Until your kid is found.
Good for you. Yeah.
So, it's the director in me coming out again, as someone pointed out earlier, or writer, you might say. This really pulls you back in on his moral compass again, and it's and it's clever that they do that in this. I think that's the main reason for this storyline in the penultimate episode, because in the next episode he's going to commit a massive crime. And you're being pulled into all of his, not just his moral compass, which in this episode seems sound, but you're also being pulled into his personal dilemmas, the marriage, how actually money could really help him right now, and things like this, and then there's also the bullshit we've had with, hey, we're going straight after this, no more dodgy stuff, we're going to be straight down the line. Of course, we know that's all nonsense, but I think when he says it, he really believes it. When he says it, I
always think that every time I'm falling down on Vic's side, I just think, hang on a minute, he shot Terry. Terry. And that's
in the face.
And that's it. And it
in the face.
And it brings and it kind of brings me back. It kind of wipes that away. It sort of expunges any kind of real sort of cheerleading.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
Well, that's a brilliance of how Lance put it, isn't it? Because it's like they throw episodes in here like this where there's no ambiguity, because it's a kid at risk, although we didn't know, but I mean, whatever. There's a kid at risk, so you do root for Vic, because you know that if some weirdo has a kid, Vic's gonna get him back. Or at least, at the very least, he's gonna make the person pay for whatever it is they may or may not have done to the kid. So I mean, that's like the brilliance, not only of the writing of the show, but of that, of Lance looking at that saying, hey, this is why they did this. I agree. I think that's almost certainly why they have these episodes, because it helps you forget that this is a cop killer.
And they established that in the first episode of season 1.
Yeah.
When he went in there and said, I'm a different kind of cop. It was about a kid.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. Yeah, good cop and bad cop have left for the day. I'm a different kind of cop. Darth, what's your?
Oh, you didn't say the quote. You didn't ask my quote.
Oh, sorry, mate. Go for your quote. We went into such a rabbit hole discussion.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, I've kept my head down long enough, and I don't like what I see. It's either I do something about it or quit, and I'm way too young to retire.
Yeah,
Claudette
totally sells her whole existence in that line, her whole moral compass as well.
Her raison d'etre, you might say.
I think that sums it up perfectly. Very good. Thank you, Northern. Darth.
Best line that comes to mind, and I'm sorry to say this, but it's just part of my jaded experience from being in university, is when Vic says, we're dealing with a judge that's just to the left of Karl Marx.
Yeah.
I
That's
can
a
tell,
good line.
Yeah, I can tell you now that the only thing to the left of Karl Marx is the bottomless pit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a good line. That's a really good line.
As far as the best scene goes, look, you guys have already pointed out a bunch of scenes, and I can't gainsay any of you about that. They're great scenes, but I'm going to pick a scene that I don't hear anyone saying anything about, and it's really visceral, and that's the scene where Vic goes to his house, where he has to smash the window and goes to his house. That entire scene with the alarm going off, the baby.
Oh, and the bath, and the kids in the bath. Yeah, that sequence is really clever.
Yeah, that whole sequence is awesome. That's my pick.
Yeah,
good pick, Darth, and thank you for reminding us. It's good that you're here to keep us all in line. So excellent. All right, good. So we're going to go into final thoughts and rating out of 10. It's an easy 9 for me. Great episode, and I think there's more to the episode if you dig deeper. And of course, again, tossing you around with your moral ambiguities as to where you stand. Who are you rooting for, Claudette, or are you rooting for Vic? It's a real dilemma for the audience, and that's a great dilemma to have. It's if you can create that dilemma for your audience, you've done a good job with your show, because real life is never black and white, and this is a great representation of that. So yeah, 9 out of 10 from me. Solid stuff. Inside Man.
Gonna have to be a 10+ with a big gold star as well. I loved it. I absolutely adore this episode. One of my absolute favorites because I found it disturbing, irritating, enraging. It really, it really pressed my buttons, as I said earlier, and that's exactly what these things should be doing. These good film and good television should really be sparking something inside you, and that's what this episode did.
Great stuff, Tox.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, it's not like it's not well acted and all the stuff, but I thought it was manipulative in a lot of ways. Maybe you've talked me around a little bit, so I'll raise it up to a solid 7.
So we'd like to thank Tox for coming on the show thus far. It's a shame it's his last episode today, but you really added loads. Northern, what's your rating?
I'd give it an 8 out of 10. The whole Julian.
Use your words carefully.
Yeah.
8.5 out of
Julian
10.
Hiring a bodyguard to get Tomas out off his back did seem a bit like a stupid thing to do, and kind of ruined the character a little bit. But the rest is still pretty good. I mean, like the storyline with Vic and the dad and Claudette, finally trying to step up a little bit more and not just be.
Did he hire a bodyguard? I thought he got the guy.
It was like
from
this
his
muscle
church.
one. He was like some guy to try and warn him off, which didn't work out.
No, but he wasn't a bodyguard. He was a guy from his church.
From his church.
One of those guys in charge of conversion therapy.
He was an advocate or something, wasn't it?
It was the guy who led him.
Something like that.
Yeah, led him through his own conversion therapy.
Yeah.
But basically, he was a wimp because Thomas just smacked him in the mouth. He's like, "Ow!" But I was thinking, did I miss a scene where Julian hired a bodyguard? It must have been a different.
No, I actually thought it was like some guy. It was kind of like someone. He should have actually hired a bodyguard. Really, I mean, someone that can probably be a bit more forceful and be a bit more intimidating to.
Should have hired me. I'd have straightened him right out.
Yeah, not to think about. Yeah. Julian was stupid. He should have hired a bodyguard. I retract my first comment, but. The rest is still pretty good, and I like seeing Claudette kind of evolve as a character a bit more, not just waiting for the paycheck and trying to go. She's done her work. No, she wants to do more now.
She's got to make a choice, which is
she has an obligation to do more now. I love that.
Setting up stuff for season 3 nicely, all the seeds. Darth.
Look, I tell you what though, if there's a review for this review. I'd love to see the commentary for the banter of this episode. This stream would be a 10 in terms of the banter. In terms of the episode, I don't think it's the best episode of the season, but I think it's still a 10.
Okay.
Still a 10 for me.
Yeah.
Not the best episode, but it's still a 10.
All right, good. A very respectable score for episode 12 of the season, and that brings us to a close for this episode of Chew the Fat. But before we go, I want to just mention the things we have coming up. Of course, we have our regular slot on Tuesday at 10 p.m. The Nielsen ratings, where very much we will be focusing on Cobra Kai. Inside Man will be binging all 6 seasons between now and then.
Good luck with that.
So looking forward to that. But yeah, we are gonna talk about Cobra Kai in some detail.
I might be ill that day.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll probably be some random Italian horror film mentioned or something.
Oh, I got some gems.
I'm sure you have. What rapey Italian police drama are you going to chuck at us this week? Anyway, I'm starting getting letters of complaint. So yeah, but also, and then now we may or may not be doing the last episode next weekend. I might be away next weekend. I might be coming back quite late on the Sunday, so I'll have to let people know if it gets postponed. It will just go back a week. The week after that, assuming it's not postponed, the Inside Man and I are doing a special Chew the Fat on all 4 on Tebby films. So there's been 4 movies about the Israeli raid on Entebbe Airport in Uganda, an airport terminal which I've actually been to, and the bullet holes are still in the tower.
Yeah, I've been there too.
Yeah, so it's a United Nations Air Force base currently. I don't know if it was that when you went there. But yeah, it's that part of the airport is now fully contracted out to the UN. But there's been 4 movies on that topic, and we're gonna get into them all. Victory at Entebbe, which was the first one that was released, shortly followed by Raid on Entebbe. Golan and Globus not short to cash in on the home audience. Did Operation Thunderbolt, which I had the privilege of watching. Very interesting musical score. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
And then the 7 Days in Entebbe, which is an excellent example of how to fuck up the most expected moment in a feature film ever by including a interpretive dance sequence in the middle of the action scene that you've been waiting the entire movie to see. But we'll get into that. We have Industry Interview 101 coming up on Wednesday. Myself and the Inside Man will both be talking to filmmaker, writer, producer Ian Diaz, who is known as Mega Geek. He turns up on various other channels, in particular, I think Mr. Brown's stream. In fact, he'll be on there shortly. This is a trailer for his show that he's crowdfunding for. It's season 2 of a show that he's funded entirely out of his own pocket. Low budget stuff, but actually pretty good stuff. I was on a stream where he spoke about it, and I said, well, you should come on, because the function of this channel is to support independent creators, especially independent film directors, of course, of which I am also one. Let's have a quick look at this.
She is not your problem. Get to your allocated safe zone and lay low until the curfew is lifted.
Her location, now.
No, I am not authorized to do that.
Is this going to be another session where you sit here in silence?
So they erase Miss Roberts' memory of you and the incident.
Would you like to talk about her? Rebecca, please, talk to me.
I'm scared of losing her.
The company grid will protect you and your girlfriend.
I kill people. That's what I do.
So we'll be talking to the creator of that on Wednesday at 8 o'clock, myself and the Inside Man. Panel, any thoughts from the trailer? Bearing in mind, this is a independent, no real budget to speak of creation. Has everybody's mics just gone off, or have I been
No, still here, but might have a delay.
Oh.
There's a bit of a delay there with me too, Lance.
Sorry, did we have a bit of a lag? Was everybody able to watch that okay? Could you see and hear it okay?
Yeah. There was some bits where the picture sort of like froze and then sped up a bit to catch up.
Okay. Well, you got the idea. Just I'll just go round one at a time because it'll be easier if we've got a bit of a lag going on. Northern, just any thoughts?
Well, I'll give it a go. I mean, seems a little bit intriguing, the plot, but I don't know. Is this a woman taking on 200-pound guys again? I don't know. I will check it out though, and hopefully I'm wrong and the acting is well done.
Well, I mean, I'll Inside Man and myself may well address that issue when we talk to Ian. Yes, you can see season 1. I believe it's on the Mega Geeks YouTube channel. The whole thing's there for free, so you can watch season 1 of Rebecca Gold. I have seen a couple of episodes of it. Listen, for bearing in mind, independent filmmaker, no money really to speak of, kind of scrimping and shaving here and shaving there and shooting over a period of a year or something on weekends as and when people are available. It's got a pretty polished look, I think. So I think for a no-budget production, it's a really good effort, which again is why I want to support it. Tox, any quick thoughts?
I mean, I'm gonna try to look at it again. I think maybe StreamYard was doing you a disservice a little there. But for crowdfunded and doing it on his own, looked interesting. Better than the Supergirl stuff Enzo has us watching on Sunday nights.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, that's very below par, but at least it does have women swimming in. There's usually a fight in the swimming pool, if I remember.
Usually, every episode. But
somehow
that's pretty cool. I like independent people doing their own thing like that. That's cool. I like it. I'm gonna check it out on your recommendation.
Yeah, cool. Darth, any comments?
Well, I'd like to know more about it before I dive into it. I mean, I don't like going into things cold. I could probably be talked into it.
Well, check out the Indiegogo campaign. It's live now. It's only been going a few days, and we'll give it a plug on Wednesday. And myself and the Inside Man.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be I want to be open-minded. I don't want to say yay or nay based on what I just saw.
No, sure. I understand. Okay, great. Let me give my fellow YouTube compatriots a chance to shout out their wares. So that's not Inside Man and Darth. Northern, you got anything coming up you want to plug quickly?
Good to Escape from New York on Friday with Inside Man, Critical, Fandad, and I think I may have another guest on back. We'll see what happens then. And so far, that's it. I'm hoping I can try and get a review done of maybe Cobra Kai or some movie or classic movie, maybe, because there haven't really been a lot of good stuff that I've been checking out. So yeah, we'll see what happens this week. Apart from Escape from New York.
So the BAFTAs is on at the moment.
Is it?
It's actually running live while we've been on air. I forgot it was on tonight.
More people are watching this than the actual BAFTAs these days. So.
Well, listen, award shows, I'm with you, but I am a little bit. I've got a lot of time for Warwick Davis as an actor. I think he's a really well liked guy in the industry. I met him once, very nice, and he's trending currently on Twitter because people are talking about the speech that he's just done. I think he's just won a BAFTA. I don't know if it's an honorary or if it's for a particular role. Should we have a quick listen?
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Firstly, say thank you to my mum, my very first agent all those years ago, and the reason I'm here tonight, quite literally. No, she's not a cab driver. She gave birth to me 55 years ago. Thank you, Mum. And also, I'd like to thank my incredible team, my agent, and all the people who have supported me throughout my career. This award isn't just for me, it's for all of you. Hang on a minute, sod that. I've done all the work. It's for me. This is all mine. Above all, though, I'd like to dedicate and thank my wonderful wife, Sammy, who died almost a year ago. She was also supportive of my career, encouraged me to grab every opportunity with both hands. However, I soon noticed that her level of enthusiasm for me taking a particular role was often relative to how much she wanted that new designer handbag.
Good on him.
Yeah.
Thought we just now probably have to cut that from the stream because I'll almost certainly get copyright flag, so I'll probably have to edit it out. But I thought we'd have a quick look. Good on you, Warwick.
I've been watching a few clips of him on that Life's Too Short. Remember that one?
Oh, yeah. He was great in that.
Absolutely
great in that.
Brilliant. Yeah.
And totally embracing the self-effacing humor, which I just made me love him to bits. So fantastic. Okay. I'm told that we should perhaps give this a watch, depending if people can fit it in for the Nielsen ratings. The Gorge, starring Sigourney Weaver, Miles Teller, and Anya Taylor-Joy. I've seen the trailer for this. It did look interesting.
I think it tells you everything in the trailer. So I think
it was a very spoilery trailer, wasn't it?
Yeah. What a shame. What a shame.
I would have liked to have known nothing about it, but
just watched it last night.
Yeah, you've seen it. Tox. Well, yep. I mean, we'll get into it on Tuesday. You can mention it, but should we watch it? Just say yes or no. Should we watch it?
Yes, watch it.
Okay, all right. I'm sold. So, Toxic is reliable 27% of the time. I like those odds. All right.
I like those odds too.
That's it from us. Thanks to everybody who's supporting the channel and coming in and viewing these things. I do hope that we can get the live views up a little bit because it's nice if we can have a bit of discussion with the audience. So we'll see if we can boost it up. I am working quite hard to get one or two guests from the Shield on some point in the future. Watch this space. We shall see what happens there. But to my panelists, thank you very much for spending another Sunday evening with me. Slightly less coughs on this one. And also thank you particularly to the Inside Man for your continued friendship. Means an awful lot to me. So Toxic, not so much, but Inside Man.
That's fair.
I am joking, of course. The robust British humor. If you're from America, please get used to it. We'll send you a guidebook. Don't forget to call the people that you care about and tell them that you love them. And we will be back real soon on Tuesday at 10 p.m. for the Nielsen ratings. Until then, bye.
Misfits and dreamers getting innovative. It's film, TV, and theater in the mix. Industry interviews where ideas get their fix. He's creative, we're creative. How about you? Share your passion, join the crew. At Outcast. Lance and the Outcast crew.